Today you will hear about high-precision heartbeat measurement using a unique technology which was developed in Ukraine, from a charity in rural Ukraine to the global market of high-tech innovations. How can a small bracelet transform the entire world of modern medicine? Master of Crafts got a unique opportunity to have a glimpse of the future currently being created in Ukraine. Despite the advances medicine has made in the last 50 years, the main cause of death are still cardiovascular diseases. According to the World Health Organization, 17.5 million people die of cardiovascular diseases each year. According to WHO estimates, up to 80% of premature myocardial infarctions and strokes can be prevented. Of course, the first guideline is to lead a healthy lifestyle, but the doctors emphasize that the importance of going for regular preventive checkups at a clinic should not be underestimated. While the countries with low levels of income have less access to medical help, many of the prosperous regions of the planet just don't have enough time to care for their health. Although the Ukrainian statistic of deaths caused by cardiovascular diseases is discouraging, it's exactly here where doctors managed to answer the question whether it was possible to know about heart problems in advance in order to prevent an early death. At first glance, Ukrainain looks like the head of an ordinary office company. But if you listen to what these people talk about, you will hear almost sci-fi terminology instead of what you would hear in some accounting or financial company. We have 12 people who are competent in medical experimental physics, and we have devised a method to measure the changes in the electromagnetic field of a human hand. You must have at least 2 degrees, one in medicine and another in engineering, to understand what Ukrainain and his team talk about when they travel between 5 countries. Right now, UATV is going to tell about the Ukrainian innovation, which will be able to prevent heart attacks, strokes, hypertensive crisis, and save millions of lives all over the world. Ukrainain has 3 degrees, but he is no doctor. For 14 years he has been working with pharmaceuticals, though he didn't develop them. In fact, they actually helped to sell them. What can an advisor possibly know about medicine? Transnational corporations require their managers not just to smile, but to clearly understand how a certain drug works. To know this, the managers attend special courses, which complement their higher education. We just couldn't have worked any other way. If you have an exam, you must prepare for it. The exams weren't always automated, and there were medical sections as well. Medical divisions of pharmaceutical corporations are kind of an inquisition, which supervises adherence to standards and makes sure that everything is fine. That is exactly where Ukrainain learned his main principle: never stop learning. The modern world changes too fast to rely on the education you received a long time ago. In 2014, in critical times for Ukraine, his skills and knowledge were highly useful. With the beginning of the war with Russia-controlled forces in the east of Ukraine, Ukrainain left the corporations to help wounded Ukrainian soldiers. I came up with an idea to make the first volunteer mobile hospital. Then the situation looked like this. There were only 2 hospitals deployed on a 348-kilometer-long contact line. We were used by the general staff of the Ukrainian armed forces. Our unit administered various kinds of assistance, including very difficult neurosurgery, to almost 10,000 patients. The first volunteer mobile hospital still helps people who are fighting against Russian aggression in the east of Ukraine. Ukrainain returned home in 2015 and met with benefactors who wanted to organize a grand charity event, but didn't know what it should look like. Yevgen remembered that Ukraine has the highest level of death caused by cardiovascular diseases in all of Europe, so he proposed to conduct thousands of free preventive examinations in the Khmelnytsky region. This is a nationwide record in electrocardiographic examinations. We examined 24,433 patients in 565 locations, which took us 52 days. Considering that we managed to do this using a 4th-generation ECG, which has automatic data interpretation, we were able to gather an enormous amount of data. Half a year passed and the data formed the foundation of the main invention of Neistatek's team. Ukrainians have developed the first electrocardio sensor, which takes data from one hand. Next, what makes the cardio bracelet so unique, and how this technology will be able to control both health and emotions? Remember the last time you had an ECG examination. You have to lie down, the doctor fixes 3 cardio sensors to your body, and you shouldn't move, because if you do, the result of the test may be distorted. There are more advanced ways already, but each one has its drawbacks. How about replacing all these cumbersome apparatuses with a single bracelet? This is what Ukrainain came up with.
Вот эта идея была изложена на салфетке в кафешке.
This is the idea that was written on a napkin in a cafe back in November 2015. It progressed from a napkin to a successful crowdfunding campaign over slightly more than a year.
На Kickstarter прошло чуть больше года.
In 2017, the unique sensor bracelet will be available to order online. Its creator, Ukrainain, emphasizes that it is still not a medical device. This prototype allows a person to see their emotional state almost in real time, using ECG to be aware of the stress, which may cause serious heart problems. This bracelet is the first step on the road to cardiomedicine of the future, and it already uses the most advanced technology made by Ukrainian inventors. This is a smartphone factory. Similar machines in China manufacture the microcircuitry for the sensor bracelet. It is different from a smartphone not by the choice of material, but by intrinsic ideas and technologies. The bracelet does not measure pulse, as it would seem, but registers electrical signals, which the brain sends in order to make the heart muscle contract. We must register the moment when the electrical signal is sent to the heart for it to contract, the so-called R peak. Then, we must accurately measure to within a millisecond the intervals between these R peaks and between those moments. That means to the 3rd digit after the decimal point. This level of accuracy cannot be surpassed by any fitness bracelet. Only an advanced heartbeat monitor can do this. Ukrainain's bracelet can replace bulky hospital equipment. The bracelet can make 130-second-long ECG measurements every 15-30 minutes. Doing the measurements in real time requires too much energy. The data from the bracelet goes to a smartphone application, where the real magic happens. The bracelet can read a person's emotions as easy as a smartphone can pinpoint your geographical location.
В основе анализа психоэмоционального
The psycho-emotional state analysis is based on a well-researched and popular heart rate variability analysis. The heart rate variability analysis shows the work of the autonomic nervous system, also called the vegetative nervous system. To put it simply, the heart rate tells everything about our emotions. Measuring only the heart rate, anger could be mistaken for joy, but the highly accurate ECG can draw a unique heart portrait for any emotion. Thus, an ordinary smartphone app can show when and how its owner experienced some irritation, tenderness, or stress. This is where the Khmelnytsky region examination data came in handy. It was used to increase the bracelet's measurement precision. Eventually, the inventors were surprised to discover that the device they had created is in high demand all over the world. People from 57 countries have made contributions during the crowdfunding campaign.
Публикации были на более чем 20 там.
The publications were in more than 25 or 27 languages. I don't remember exactly. There were really exotic languages: Tamil press, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and Malay. All of the European languages, of course. They wrote about us in the US and Canada. The sensor bracelet invented by the Ukrainian team was awarded twice by the International Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, the famous Consumer Electronic Award. No other Ukrainian product has ever before been given this award twice. In conclusion, what are the Ukrainian inventors working on now, and how do they see the future of medical industry? Connecting the cardio bracelet to a smartphone application was the most basic application of the ideas conceived by Ukrainain. Their goal is to create not a consumer, but a universal medical device, which would allow to detect the most common cardiovascular diseases without the inconvenience of having to go to a hospital. We have developed a hardware-software method, which allows for an early detection of microcardial infraction, especially the second type, ischemic.
и инфаркта миокарда, особенно второго типа ишемического.
This method has already received praise from independent foreign cardiologists, which means that the creation of a professional medical cardio bracelet is just a matter of time and conducting a clinical research study. Yevgen Nextetek doesn't like to waste time, so his team is already working on an arterial pressure sensor, which can be integrated into the bracelet.
И вот сейчас в нашей лаборатории тестируется первый в мире.
Now we are testing the first wearable cuffless arterial pressure monitor, which will measure arterial pressure with the accuracy required by currently recognized international standards.
Стандартам, которые приняты на текущий момент в мире.
This incredible device cannot err even if its wearer is not stationary, because the monitor measures pressure by the pulsing of the blood vessels and can even estimate the blood oxygenation visually through the skin. This fantastic bracelet can warn the wearer of an imminent hypertensive crisis or even a stroke. And not only the wearer, Yevgen wants the ECG and arterial pressure data to be instantly transferred to the clinic. The wearer's doctor will be able to have almost real-time data about the patient's state, and the program will automatically trigger an alarm as to whether or not the wearer's life is in danger.
Мы должны там отправить карету скорой помощи. Если это инфаркт, значит в карете.
We must send an ambulance. If this is a myocardial infraction, the ambulance must have clot-busting drugs, which must be administered to prevent the infraction. The time between the attack and the ambulance arrival can be minimized. This device will make it possible to predict an imminent heart attack an hour before it actually occurs. This is all possible by one little bracelet. A device which will combine all those functions into one is yet to be developed. We have a lot of development work to do. As a R&D company, we have already built a secure foundation, a secure basis to produce new ideas from, and have developed new technologies, which will help us to solve a rather broad range of different medical problems. Yevgen Nextetek and his team's ultimate goal is to make it so that the people would have access to good medicine regardless of their geographical location. By using the advanced ECG sensors, Ukraine can make a key contribution in the fight for the lives of tens of millions of people.